Hello, my name is Holland Timmins, otherwise known on the internet as the Connoisseur. Today we'll be taking a look at The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, Volume 2, The War Years. This immediately picks up, well, not immediately, but it picks up right as Indiana Jones enters World War One, and it begins with the movie Trenches of Hell, having to do with the Psalm. Um, Interesting movie. Indiana Jones sees how hellish World War One really is. The viewer gets to see how hellish World War One really was, and after many battles, he gets some time off, and anyway, when they go back into battle, Indiana Jones gets captured. Spoilers. There are spoilers in this. I'm going to be talking what happens in here, so yeah. He gets captured and he almost escapes from prison, but then he gets sent to a super maximum prison where he tries to escape this inescapable prison after he meets Charles de Gaulle. Anyway, Indy does escape, and then it goes on to the Battle of Verdun and Demons of Deception. In the Battle of Verdun, Indiana Jones is a courier on bike, and again, these are all really good movies, but Indiana Jones is a bike courier, and due to a decision he makes, he gets put back into the war instead of being a bike courier, so then he gets some time off thanks to his father and gets sent to France in a part of the movie which was actually written by the late Carrie Fisher. This is where he meets the Mata Hari, a pinup model he often idolized in the first volume. At least once he idolized her, but actually gets to meet the Mata Hari and actually has sex for the first time with her. The sex is actually done very tastefully, as this was a television program, but also it's very sensual. So it also really shows Indiana Jones's hypocrisy when it comes to women. But yeah, then the third one is the Phantom Train of Doom. Indiana Jones and some others. He meets up with a band of a really old group of people who formed their own battalion, and they go off to find this phantom train that's been terrorizing the coast on the German rail lines. They can't find it, and then of course they stumble across the phantom train. Indiana Jones learns some words of wisdom that come back to serve him well in the main movies. Then they go off on this crazy adventure. Unbeknownst to Indy and Remy, they're actually drafted to try and capture Paul von Lettow. And things do not go as planned. Let's just say that. Things do not go as planned. They almost capture him, but it doesn't quite work out because things do not work out as they planned. But that's part of the lesson Indy learns in Phantom Train of Doom. Plans do not work out, and so you have to adapt. Essentially just make it up as you go along. Then there's the next one, which is Ogonga, the Giver and Taker of Life, where Indiana Jones gets shot and then promoted. That's interesting. He gets shot, then he gets promoted, and he's tasked with this journey across the Congo jungle to get a supply of guns to bring back. And after this hellish trek through the Congo, they get to a river and they come across this German hospital, but they can't go there because it's run by a German. So they grab the guns, and nobody wants to go back through the jungle, but Indy has orders. So they go back, but they all get malaria or whatever, and anyway, they wind up at the German hospital where Indiana Jones meets Albert Schweitzer. Very interesting historical character. Very sad what happens. I don't want to spoil that. But anyway, turns out the guns are needed in France. So they go back to Europe, and that's Attack of the Hawkmen, where Indiana Jones becomes a spy photographer for the Lafayette Escadrille, and he meets Manfred von Richthofen, also known as the Red Baron, who pretty much invented modern aviation dogfighting, all the basics anyway, and yeah, that's interesting. Then he's sent off on another spy mission to get this aviation genius to come to the Allied side, but again, things don't work out, and there's a huge explosion. But I don't want to give away much more than that. Then there's him continuing his spy career in the Adventures of the Secret Service, where he tries to work out a peace deal with Carl of the Last Habsburg. Just a second, Carl. I don't know his last name, but he's essentially an emperor, I think in Austria. I think it's Austria. And he's trying to convince the emperor to pull out of the war as an ally of Germany, thus neutralizing the war effort on the enemy's part. But, doesn't work out, but you get a great appearance by Christopher Lee. To be fair, I think Emperor Palpatine is in Demons of Deception, so there's a lot of Star Wars people in this. Yeah, I think the guy who plays Emperor Palpatine is in Demons of Deception, and Christopher Lee is in Adventures of the Secret Service as a diplomatic advisor to Carl. And then, of course, after much intrigue, Indiana Jones is sent to the Russian front, not the Russian front, but to Russia, to spy on the Russians who are about to experience a revolution during World War I. And Indiana Jones makes some friends, and, you know, he celebrates his birthday, and, yeah, he gets caught in the crossfire of the Russian Revolution. It's pretty crazy. Then, of course, his espionage escapades. The next one, where Indiana Jones gets sent as a spy, and he gets to be in this Russian ballet where there are practically no Russians. And he's cast as a eunuch, where Sean Patrick Flannery probably does the greatest dance I've ever seen. He's dancing Morse code as a eunuch. I'm sorry, it's too funny. You have to see it to believe it. It's one of those things you just have to see. It's so hilarious. One of the best dances I've ever seen. And, yeah, so then, of course, he's off to this other area of Europe where he gets embroiled in a very Kafka-esque adventure where he actually meets Kafka, and it's a very good story, very comedic. Espionage Escapades is a very comedic film, and it's a nice break from all the seriousness. And then finally is Daredevils of the Desert, which has Indiana Jones team up, kind of, with Lawrence of Arabia, and they're going across the desert to take Jerusalem by Christmas, and Indiana Jones has to make sure there's enough drinking water for all the men, otherwise they're all going to die. And he actually has another girlfriend, Catherine Zeta-Jones, that is a very young Catherine Zeta-Jones. And, actually, that's him as the eunuch. It's very funny. But, yeah, has Catherine Zeta-Jones there as his girlfriend. She's not everything that she appears to be. Very alluring, very dangerous. They have an affair, which is something they both admit is not a good idea. Anyway, let's just say by the end of the movie, Indiana assures the Allies break the backs of the opposition forces, thus ensuring the end to World War I, though if you studied history, you would understand this would break the opposition forces, the backs of the opposition forces. So, really, by saving all the wells, Indiana Jones ensured that World War I would be won by the Allies. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but that's really good storytelling on George Lucas's part. That's all 8 movies. Again, this is The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, Volume 2, The War Years. In this volume, things get really, really good. Nothing against Volume 1, but it was kind of a slow build-up. This is where everything just really picks up. And I would really recommend this. Yeah, so this is the next 8 movies. Volume 1 was the first 7. So far I've reviewed and removed 15 movies from my review lineup. So, sorry about the wait, but it's definitely worth it. As you can see, I have a signature, which is awesome, really. I really liked meeting him. Actually, that's another story for another time, me meeting Sean Patrick Flannery. But, he's a really cool cat. Yeah, and this is a really good show, so again, check it out. I will talk to you later. It's the Connoisseur saying peace.